Daniel sat in the dim light of his one-room apartment, staring at the old wedding photo in his hands. His fingers trembled as they traced the edges, worn from too many nights of regret. His ex-wife, Lisa, stood beside him in the picture, eyes full of love that had faded into exhaustion, then resentment. Their marriage had crumbled under the weight of financial struggles, and the divorce had stripped him of everything: his home, his dignity, and worst of all, his daily presence in his children's lives. Now, he was just a visitor in his own family's world. The bills on his table were unopened. He didn't need to read them to know what they said. Eviction notice, debt collection, final warnings. His bank account was empty, and the job market had no space for a man who had lost everything. But Daniel had a plan, a desperate, irreversible plan. He had taken out a life insurance policy years ago, back when he still believed in a future. The payout was enough to keep his children safe, to pay for their school, their home, their lives without him. The only problem was the suicide clause. If he took his own life, the insurance wouldn't pay. So, he had arranged something else. A murder. Daniel found an old acquaintance, Jesse, a man who had long walked the line between crime and survival. They met at a rundown bar on the outskirts of town. $10,000, Jesse said, swirling a cheap whiskey in his glass. You sure about this? Positive, Daniel whispered, sliding an envelope across the table. It was filled with everything he had left: cash advances, credit card withdrawals. Jesse tucked it away. Tomorrow night. Dark alley. One clean shot. It'll look like a robbery gone wrong. Daniel exhaled, his body trembling with relief. His kids would be safe. He wouldn't have to wake up every morning knowing he had failed them. The air was cold when Daniel walked to the agreed location. His heart pounded, but there was no fear, just finality. He was ready. Then, something unexpected happened. A block away, he saw a familiar figure, Lisa. She was arguing with a man outside a car. His breath caught when he saw who it was. Mark. Mark was Lisa's new boyfriend. A man with money, with a steady job. A man who had stepped into Daniel's life and made it clear there was no space for him anymore. But Lisa looked afraid. Daniel moved closer. You think I don't know what you've been doing? Mark growled. You're still talking to him, aren't you? Lisa shook her head. No, Mark grabbed her wrist, squeezing hard. You're lying. Daniel's body reacted before his mind did. He ran forward, shoving Mark back. Get your hands off her. Mark turned, eyes wild. What the hell are you? A gunshot rang out. For a moment, Daniel thought Jesse had pulled the trigger early. But then Mark staggered, his hands clutching his side, blood seeping through his shirt. Lisa had a small gun in her trembling hands. Her eyes were wide with shock. Lisa, Daniel whispered. Mark collapsed. Lisa stood frozen, her body shaking violently. Daniel moved fast. He grabbed her hand, wiped the gun clean, and threw it into the dumpster. Listen to me, he said, his voice firm. You need to go. Now. Take the car. Go home to the kids. Tears streamed down Lisa's face. Daniel, no time. Go. She hesitated, but then ran. Daniel turned back to Mark, who was barely clinging to life. His own problems didn't matter anymore. He had to fix this. Jesse appeared from the shadows. He had seen everything. Change of plans. Jesse muttered. Daniel exhaled sharply. Yeah, get out of here. Forget the deal. Jesse nodded and vanished. The consequence. Daniel did the only thing he could. He stayed. He called the police. He confessed, not to killing Mark, but to defending Lisa. The trial was long, but Lisa testified. She told the truth about Mark's abuse, about how he had threatened her, controlled her, about how Daniel had saved her. The judge listened. The verdict: manslaughter. 3 years. It wasn't freedom, but it wasn't death either. And when Daniel walked out of prison 3 years later, Lisa was waiting. So were his kids. And for the first time in years, he realized they still needed him. Alive. Thank you for joining us today on Golden Tales by Nia. Like, subscribe, and share for more stories like this.